Feliz lunes. Buenos dias. How's everybody today? Jojo, how was your weekend? Yeah, good. Muy bien. I'm going to attempt being the operative word. I'm going to attempt to share a poll with you guys. Okay. And then you can just put your answer in the poll. Good morning, Arshad. Okay, let me see if I can do this. If this is going to let me. Because I had some troubles. All right. Good morning, Arshad. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see the poll. Yay. Yay. All right. So obviously the little things are supposed to be accent marks because our verb needs an accent, right? So which correctly fills in the blank for the following? Ustedes blank en el cine, estás or están. So make your choice and submit that. Buenos dias, Arshad. Did you have a good weekend? Oh, muy bien. Brooklyn, did we forget our camera this morning? All right, you guys are on this. Very good, right? Very good. So están, right? Están is our plural for with ustedes, right? Muy bien, Brooklyn. How are you today? Did you have a good weekend? See? All right. So ustedes están en el cine. Are you guys at the cinema, right? At the movie house, whatever we're calling them these days. So estar, to be used for temporary feelings, temporary conditions like being sick, and for location. Okay. Now, our goal this week is we're going to start today with some groundwork for a new story. And our story is based on the Grammys. Y'all know what I mean by the Grammys? Y'all know what the Grammys are? Jojo, have you ever heard of the Grammy Awards? See, so it's music, right? It's like the Oscars of the music world, if you will. And so we're going to do a short story on that, but we are going to talk about, our story talks about the Latin Grammys. So we're going to look at some Latin music, et cetera, some Hispanic music, whatever we're calling it, right? Let's just call it Latin because they're called the Latin Grammys. So everything that we do, you guys, is in preparation for our little story activity on the Latin Grammys. Okay. So hoy es lunes, el 12 enero, right? El 12 enero, the 12th of January. Vamos a conocer y practicar con el presente continuo. So we got to figure out, you guys, what is the presente continuo, how it works, what it looks like in English, you know, all of those things so that we can understand our story better. And I will tell you this. If you are genuinely interested in utilizing or using your Spanish at some point in your life. Okay, now let's put it in context. Language learning is a lifelong thing, right? You're not going to learn how to speak Spanish when you get out of high school. But what this presente continuo does, you guys, this is how like people talk. Yeah. This is how we speak in English more commonly. This is how Spanish is spoken most commonly. Okay. So this is probably one of the more not probably, it is probably one of the most useful things. Now, before we start that, I have to give you some words that will help you understand what we mean, like, so we can have a conversation about the presente continuo. Okay. All right. Any questions about what we're doing? Right. So we're going to start something new, and everything that we do is groundwork for our story. And we're going to try to learn this presente continuo, which is the most useful thing you're going to know for Spanish. Okay. All right. Preguntas, questions. All right. No questions. Muy bien. I would like for you, before we get started, I would like for you today to do two things. Okay. The first thing I need for us to do is I need you guys to have like a scrap piece of paper handy. If you have paper handy, or open a document or something on your computer that you can use as like scrap paper. Okay. Whatever you feel comfortable with, whether it's writing with a pencil, pen, paper, or just like have a document open that's just like scrap paper. Okay. The second thing that I would like you guys to do is I would like for you to try this. Now, what this is going to do, and I'm going to put it in the chat, okay? What this is going to do is allow us to have a keyboard that hopefully lets you type in like accent marks. Okay, now here's why I'm bothering at this stage of the game, because the verb estar, we're going to use it for this presente continuo, and we need to have accent marks. Okay, because without the accent marks, the words actually mean something else, right? So we kind of need to get into the habit of using accent marks when we're using this verb estar. So if you guys don't mind, take a minute. The instructions I'm sharing with you, they're in the chat. I'll be in Go Guardian with you to, maybe try to help you navigate. Oops, I keep losing that. There we go. Okay. Arshad and Jojo. How are we doing? Good? Okay. Does it work in Brooklyn? Uh-oh. Understood. Arshad, did you get it done? So you can type in, so you can have that Spanish keyboard type in accent marks in that. And if you think about it, you guys, like when we do stuff in Canvas or VHL, if you have access to those accent marks, then it'll count fewer things wrong, right? Because you're going to need to have the accent mark. Otherwise, the computer thinks it's wrong, right? So this will be helpful on a number of levels. So give me a thumbs up when you think you got it. Also, while you're piddling with that, just a reminder, I think everybody got their story turned in, right? Arshad, you and I need to meet sometime today, or Tuesday, tomorrow, to to go over your story. Yay, Brooklyn. Okay, Arshad, can you check the chat? Okay, Jamarian, did you get it to work? Did you guys get it all to work? So I don't know, Brooklyn, if you want to like copy those instructions from the chat and like put them somewhere or something. I don't know. That's kind of up to you guys, so that maybe it'll help you navigate. That's up to you. Jojo, are you good? All right, Arshad. Yay. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right. You ready, Brooklyn? See? Okay. All right, Jojo, Arshad, take a look at my screen. Excuse me. And so let's just talk about what we need to do here, because there's a couple of words that you all are going to see like in your exercises, and you're going to hear me use, and they're strictly classroom type words, right? But we need to know what they are. So I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to show you what they are, right? Because it's kind of easier that way. So in English, again, we can say things like let's do an I. Oops, let me make this bigger. Let's say I talk to my friends. Okay. I talk to my friends. So you guys, just for context, okay, just for context, this is what we just call regular old present tense. Okay. Now I need to know that you all are ready, because this is important, right? We're trying to lay the groundwork we're trying to launch into something new. So I need everybody's attention. Okay. If you're not ready. All right. I'll quickly, Brooklyn. Okay. Can you hear me now? As long as you can hear me? Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right. So you guys, when we talk about like present tense verbs in the present tense, which is everything that we've been doing, right? It's like in general. Well, I talk to my friends, right? Generally speaking, I talk to my friends like on a regular basis, every Monday, every Tuesday, whatever. I talk to friends. Okay. Then you guys, we did the near future thing, right? Where we said, I'm going to talk to my friends, right? Which is something I'm going to do. I'm not talking to them right now. It's something that I'm going to do. Okay. So where we're headed next, you guys, is this next bit. Let's pretend again that we're talking to friends, right? And if I say, I am talking to my friends. Okay, so let's look again at the difference in what these sentences mean. I talk to my friends, generally speaking, I talk to them. I'm going to talk to my friends, meaning I'm not talking to them now. I'm going to talk to them here in just a minute or next week or tomorrow or at 1 o'clock or whatever. Okay. Versus, you guys, I am talking to my friends. Okay. I am talking to my friends is this present progressive or present continuous, whatever we want to call it. It doesn't make any difference. I don't really care what we call it. Okay. Right. So how is this different? You guys tell me. I am talking to my friends. How is it different from the previous two sentences? I am talking to my friends. I'm going to talk to my friends. I talk to my friends. How is this one different? Very good, JoJo. Very good, Brooklyn. Absolutely. Right. I am talking to my friends is like, I'm doing it right now as I speak. Right. I'm talking to my friends. So this, you guys, this one is, like I said a minute ago, the one that is most commonly used in spoken Spanish. So that's why this is really kind of like a launch right into some other level of Spanish, because this is the one that they use all the time, just like we do. Okay. Now, a couple of things that we have to realize. Okay. And this is simply classroom words so that we have a vocabulary in order to understand each other. Okay. In instruction. If we take this ing, right? And oops, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this. If we take this ing in English, okay, something that ends in ing, oopsie, is called a gerund or a present participle. Okay, now it doesn't make any difference. I'm not ever going to ask you on a test, right? Like, what's a gerund or what's a present participle? Okay, but you need to know it, like I say, for classroom discussion, and you need to know because you're going to see it in instructions for class, right? I can't get back to work anyway. You're going to see it in like instructions for class. And then like if I were to make a correction on something, I would say, oh, well, your present participle is wrong or your gerund is wrong or whatever, right? Because we got to know what we're talking about. So this is strictly for classroom. Okay. Y'all with me here? Okay. Now, notice that we have this am. Okay. So the am in English is called an auxiliary. I can't even say it in English. Auxiliary verb. Okay. So again, just because you're going to see it in instructions or something, right? The am, for example, okay, is called an auxiliary verb. And the ing ending is called the gerund or the participle, the present participle. Okay. So again, these are just tools for us for class. Okay. So what we are headed to learn, you guys, our next sort of concept is this: I am talking, I am walking, he is reading. So it's stuff that we are doing specifically at the moment as we speak. Okay. Not in the near future, not yesterday. Okay. or not generally speaking. Something I'm doing right now. Okay. All right. Any questions? Can I switch screens up, you guys? Let me know if I can switch screens. Okay. Jojo, you with me? All right. Farshad? Okay. Good. All right. Let me get my stuff ready. Okay. So what I want us to do is I would like for us to just kind of practice this, look and see what it looks like. Like I said, so we can prep for our story. And this is, of course, the most useful thing for you in Spanish. Okay. All right. You're going to need your scrap paper or an open document when we do our practice today. Okay. So that's why I ask you to do that. All right. Give me a thumbs up if y'all can see our screen. Okay. So when we say present progressive, present continuous, I don't care. Call it whatever you want. It doesn't make any difference as long as you recognize what we're talking about. Okay. Our screen says the structure of a form of a star, right? And a gerund, which now we know is the ing ending, okay, is used to describe an action or an event that is in progress, right? So how do we do this? We use a form of the verb a star followed by this gerund, right? This ing ending. So we are watching TV. Estamos mirando. The children are playing. Los niños están jugando. John, are you studying? Juan, ¿estás estudiando? Okay. Somebody tell me real quick, what is the ing ending so far in Spanish in these examples that we can see on our screen? I'm just looking at these right here. What is the ing in Spanish, in our Spanish sentences? Can you figure it out based on those examples? What do you think? Very good, Joe Marion. Anybody else? Arshad, what is the ing ending in our examples here? What do you think, Brooke? Okay, but what specifically about those words in Spanish is the ing ending, the Spanish equivalent, if you will, of the ing ending? Arshad, what do you say? What do you think, Brooke? Okay. Arshad? In our examples here, what is the equivalent of ing in the Spanish sentences? Okay, so you're right. So look here. We have our form of a star. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Yes. We have our form of a star and our gerund. Okay, now our endings here, A-N-D-O, A-N-D-O, A-N-D-O. Okay, so that is going to be, you guys, the ing ending, if you will, for, look here, regular AR verbs. Okay, so here's what I mean. If mirando is our verb, you guys, our infinitive, see how all these words have to come into play, would be mirar, right? In other words, the original form of the verb is mirar. That tells me, right, Brooke, that this is an AR verb. And so if I'm going to make it an ing, right, if I'm going to use this because I'm actually watching right now, I have to know that because it's an AR verb, my ing ending is ANDO. Okay. So in our second example, it would be jugar, right? And in our third example, it's estudiar. So all of those, you guys, are regular AR verbs. Okay. So our regular AR verb, gerund, there's that ugly word again, okay, is ando. Ando. Right? Now, if we have, you guys take a look over here, a regular ER verb or IR verb like comer or vivir, okay? So I am eating, she is living in Chicago or whatever, okay? So notice what our ending, our ing ending is yendo and yendo. Do y'all see this? So it's if it's an ER or an IR verb, then our ing ending becomes IENDO. Okay. Not hard. We just have to remember. Now, these also apply to only the regular verbs. And we know in Spanish that there are plenty of verbs that don't follow a regular pattern, right? We've seen millions of them at this stage, okay? So ando is for regular AR verbs and yendo is for regular IR verbs. So if I wanted to use these in a oopsie, I didn't mean to do that, in a sentence, you guys, I'm so bad. I don't want the pen. I want the eraser. Where'd my eraser go? More? No. My eraser disappeared. Okay. So if I wanted to use these in a sentence like yo estoy comiendo pizza. Yeah, I'm eating pizza. Yo estoy comiendo pizza. Right? Ella está viviendo en Chicago, right? She is living in Chicago. Ella está viviendo en Chicago, right? Jose, right, está cantando en un concierto, right? He is singing in a concert, right? So these are actions, remember, you guys, that we are doing at the moment. They're actually in progress, okay? All right, any questions there? All right, muy bien. So once again, you guys, as a reminder, our verb estar. So now we're going to add it to the list. We said that we use a star when we talk about our feelings, whether or not, like what our condition is, like if we're sick, location, right? We can add to our list now that we need to use a star when we are in progress of doing something at the moment. Like I am talking right now. I am talking. In Spanish, to talk is hablar, which is a regular AR verb. And so yo estoy hablando con ustedes, right? I'm talking to you guys. Estoy hablando con ustedes. Okay. we now have our Spanish keyboard. And the reason why it's important to have those accents on estás and está is not only for pronunciation, but because otherwise it has a different meaning. It means this or that, and we don't want to use that, right? We need to say is, right, or are. Okay, estoy, estás, está, estamos, and están, right? Okay, so this is all in your module so that you guys have access to it, right? But remember, to form this present progressive, we combine a form of a star with the present participle. There's that word, right? Present participle, gerund, same thing. So to form the present participle of regular AR verbs, add ando to the stem of the verb. So hablar is a regular AR verb, becomes hablando. Trabajar, to work, get rid of the AR, becomes trabajando. Right? Estudiar, again, get rid of the AR, add the ando, estudiando. Estamos estudiando español, right? We are studying Spanish. If it's an ER or an IR verb, then we add yendo. Estoy comiendo la pizza. Estás haciendo la tarea, if you guys are doing homework. Estamos viviendo en los Estados Unidos. We are living in the United States, right? Brooke está escribiendo, right? Brooke is writing. Brooke está escribiendo. Okay. So again, this is all in your module, right? Not difficult. What becomes difficult, you guys, is when we have verbs that are irregular, and we'll practice those as well. Okay. All right, give me a thumbs up if I can go on to the next slide. Muy bien. Okay. So far, you guys, can you give me like a 3, 2, 1? How are you feeling about this continuous present tense scenario? Present progressive. Okay. Again, this is like the most common thing you're going to hear, right? If you go amongst native Spanish speakers, this is what you're going to hear, because this is how to say that this is what I'm doing, you know, right? Okay. Okay. So now, you guys, I want us to focus on this right here. Okay. So, like I mentioned a second ago, there are some irregular verbs. Okay. And we'll look at them here. I don't want you to write. I just want you to kind of look and try to absorb it, and then you can write it down. Our verb ir, who remembers what ir means, you guys? Ir. What is ir? IR. We just did it with the near future. What does ir mean? Yeah. To go, right? Ir means to go. So our participle, or our gerund, I don't care, is irregular, just like ir is, because remember, ir is yo voy, tú vas, él va, nosotros vamos, ustedes van, right? So if I want to use this, my irregular participle or gerund is yendo. Yendo. So, for example, María está yendo a la biblioteca. María is going to the library. Now, let's try to remember a little something here, okay? Remember that if we were to say María va a la biblioteca, right? basically remember that that's present tense, but that's like generally speaking, like in general, Maria goes to the library, right? If Maria is in the progress of going to the library, like she just left the house, okay, then we're going to use this. We're going to use the present progressive. Está yendo. Maria is going to the library. Okay. If she hasn't left yet, then we would use that near future. Maria va a ir a la biblioteca. She's going to go, right? But this is, she's actually going. She's in progress. She's gone, right? She's left the house. She's going. She's driving there. Okay. All right. Leer, you guys, to read. Our irregular is leyendo. Leyendo. Okay. So notice it becomes Y-E-N-D-O, right? Instead of I-E-N-D-O, right? So yendo. So Juan Carlos está leyendo un libro. Juan Carlos is reading a book. Okay. Creer means to believe, and traer means to bring. Creer becomes creyendo, right? And traer becomes trayendo. So nosotros estamos trayendo las bebidas. We are bringing the drinks, right? We're bringing the drinks. The party's getting ready to start, right? We're bringing the drinks. Estamos trayendo. So what you can see, you guys, so far is that these ER and IR, right? Some of our irregular endings are going to be Y-E-N-D-O instead of I-E-N-D-O. Okay. Yes, it's all stuff. All stuff. Okay. Oops. Let me erase this. Okay. So again, I don't want you to write all this down. This is going to be in your, this is in your module. So no problems here. Okay. If it's a regular AR verb, ANDO. If it's a regular ER or IR verb, it's IENDO, right? We have those irregulars. And then we have right here, you guys, some of those verbs that change their stem, like dormir, to sleep, is going to become durmiendo. So it's an IR verb, meaning it gets IENDO, but the O becomes a U, right? Pedir is to ask. So again, it's an IR verb. It gets IENDO, but the E becomes an I, pidiendo. Okay. Look, there's all these things are like, you just have to memorize them. And I'm not going to stress too much about those. Just realize that sometimes on these things, the stem changes as well, right? Tú estás durmiendo? Are you sleeping? ¿Estás durmiendo? Right? Okay. Bueno. Okay, ready for the next slide? Not yet? Okay, give me a thumbs up when y'all are ready. And we're just going to do a couple of practices like on some scrap paper here in a minute. Okay, good, Brooke? Okay. Okay, Again, I don't want you to worry about these. I'm just here to tell you. These slides, again, are in your module and in the resource library. And here are some more irregulars, okay? Here are some more irregulars here, right? So don't worry about those, no problem. You don't have to write anything down, you don't have to memorize, you just know that they're there, okay? Now, here's a couple more, like oír, we listen, right? Oír, oyen becomes oyendo, right? All right. Now, remember way back when, and I would like us to focus on this, and if you are taking notes, this is probably something you want handy. Remember way back first of the year, we started learning reflexives, like I dress myself versus I dress my child, right? Or I brush my teeth, or I comb my hair, or I shower myself, right? And we had these reflexive pronouns, me, te, se, nos, and les. Remember those, you guys, way back from the first of the year? So, the same rules apply. Object pronouns and reflexive pronouns are either come in front. Luis se está vistiendo. Luis is dressing himself. He's in the process of dressing himself. Luis se está viviendo. Or you can put it at the end. Luis está vistiéndose. He's dressing himself. Either one of those is fine. Okay. They are saying it. Remember those object pronouns, indirect object pronouns. Ellas lo están diciendo. They are saying it. Or ellas están diciéndolo, right? You add it to the end of the word. So if you come across an example of this in a story, in a school, in one of our exercises for practice or whatever, just know this is where you can look to help you yourself. Okay, complete whatever you need to complete. Okay. Bueno. All right. In the chat, let's just start in the chat. Okay. And this is kind of a comprehension check, real quick comprehension check. To form the present participle of regular AR verbs, we add ando to the stem. So what would these two look like, you guys? How do we make the present progressive or the present continuous, or whatever we're calling it, for trabajar and estudiar? Just pop them in the chat. What would they look like? How do we say working, talking, studying? How do we do it? Okay, very good. Joe Marion, Arshad in Brooklyn. How do we say working, studying? Okay, Brooklyn. Estudiando is good. Try the other one. Remember that we only get rid of the AR, right? We only just drop the AR. So what would it look like? Okay. Arshad, pop them in the chat, por favor. Okay. How about the form of, for regular ER and IR verbs, we add yendo, right? So what would to do and to write look like? Can you pop those in the chat? Good, Brooklyn. Perfect. How about hacer and escribir? So they're ER and IR. And again, we're going to add IENDO. So how do we do it? Perfect, Joe Marion. How about escribir, to write? Brooklyn? Perfect. Arshad, you going to throw one out there in the chat, please? Perfect, Joe Marion. Muy bien. Yeah, you guys got this. So we need to remember too then that we also have to have the correct form of a star, right? I know we're kind of focusing on these gerunds here. Okay, muy bien. Okay. So if you have your scrap piece of paper, okay, or your document or whatever it is. We're going to just do a couple of these because we're kind of running out of time today, and we'll come back to them Wednesday. But our question is, ¿Qué está haciendo Manuela? Right? What is Manuela in the process of doing? Right? ¿Qué está haciendo Manuela? Okay. Well, based on a picture, here's Manuela. You see her over here? Right? So Manuela está cantando. She's in the process of singing. She is singing. Y'all with me here? See? So we got to have that correct form of estar, right? So on your scrap paper, listen for my question. Locate the person on your scrap paper. Just kind of write your simple sentence or what you think it should be. Okay. So my question is, ¿Qué está haciendo Gonzalo? ¿Qué está haciendo Gonzalo? What is Gonzalo doing? ¿Qué está haciendo Gonzalo? So you want to tell me Gonzalo is writing. Okay. Arshad, I need to see something from you today so that I know you get this. Perfect. So remember that our está is going to need that accent mark. Just a reminder, right? Because otherwise it means something else. And now that we have that ability in our documents and things to put the accent marks, just a reminder. Okay. Perfect. Yay, Joe Marion. Joe Marion, can you unmute and read us your sentence? You can do it. Él está escribiendo. Give it a try.
Él está escribiendo.
Yay, because that's a hard word to say. Okay, muy bien. All right, you guys, let's do another one. I'm going to clear my scribbles. Okay, muy bien. Brooke, did you put your answer in the chat? Did I see it? Oh, yeah. Oh, did I see it? No. Put your answer in the chat, por favor. Okay. All right, here's our next one. ¿Qué está haciendo Miriam y Javier? Okay, here's Miriam y Javier. ¿Qué está haciendo Miriam y Javier? ¿Qué está haciendo Miriam y Javier? So that's plural, right? You got to be careful. Okay, pop it in the chat when you think you have it. Muy bien, Arshad. Remember, we need our accent over the A, right? Jamarian, careful. Careful, because estudiar is an AR verb, right? And since we're talking about Miriam y Javier, it would be ellos form of estar. So try again. Okay, Brooke, what do you think? Okay. Okay. So if it's plural, you guys, we have this is the trickiest part, right, of the whole thing. Estoy, estás, está, estamos, and están. So what form of estar do we need? it'd be ellos, because we're talking about them. Estoy, estás, está, estamos, están. What do y'all say? What do you say, Arshad? Jojo? Perfect. Woohoo. All right. Muy bien. Exactly. Okay. Jojo, can you unmute? Read us to us what you got, what you said real loud.
Ellos están estudiando.
Yay. Ellos están estudiando. It's an AR verb, right? And you had it written correctly. Ando. Okay. Because it's an AR verb. Ellos están estudiando, right? All right. Let's do one more. Do we have time for one more? Yes. Okay. Let's do one more. Okay. Let's try another one. ¿Qué está haciendo Camila? ¿Qué está haciendo Camila? Yes, that's good, Joe. Perfect. ¿Qué está haciendo Camila? What is Camila doing? ¿Qué está haciendo Camila? When you think you have it, pop it in the chat. Okay, muy bien, Brooklyn. Okay, Joe Marion, what do we need? We need that form of a star too, right? And it's an ER verb. So Brooklyn, is Camila one person or more than one person? Yeah. And then what would happen to our star? There you go. Very good, Arshad. Okay, so very good. All right, so let's look at it, you guys. If Camila is singular, and I'm going to try to open a text box, but I don't know necessarily that you're going to be able to see it. Maybe I'll just put it here. Okay, so she's one person, so it's ella, right? If y'all can see my text box. And then we need our form of a star. So ella está with our accent. And comer is an ER verb, right, Jo Marion? So our ER verbs get IENDO. Okay. Ella está comiendo un sándwich. Okay. Any questions there? No? All right. Well, let's try one more. Let's try one more. Okay. Clase, ¿qué está haciendo Lucas y José? So let's do another plural one over here. ¿Qué están haciendo Lucas y José? And we want to say that they're playing chess. They're playing chess, right? But you just really need to focus on jugar, okay? ¿Qué están haciendo Lucas y José? What are they doing? Perfect, Brooklyn. Joe, what do you say? Rashad? Okay. All right. So I'm going to put it up here real quick. Or Brooklyn, you want to read us your sentence? You haven't read one to us today. Go ahead and read us your sentence, please. Unmute.
Ellos están jugando al
Ajedrez.
ajedrez.
Yeah, very good. Okay. So están jugando. Again, you guys, it's an AR verb, right? So ellos están with the accent, of course. Están jugando, right? Blah, blah, blah. So we have to make sure, you guys, that we recognize if it's an AR, regular AR verb, it's going to be ando. If it's a regular ER or IR verb, it's going to be IENDO, yendo. Okay. All right. Let's pause a minute. How about a 3, 2, 1? How are you feeling after doing a few practices up here, you guys? Okay. 3, 2, 1. How are you guys feeling after a couple of these? Yeah. Okay. Arshad, how are you feeling? Perfect. Okay. Let's see. All right. On your scrap, okay, we're not going to do all 8 of these, right? But some of these we may not even know what the words mean, what the verb is, and that's fine because remember, we don't have to. All right, we need to focus on how to just write this up, okay, for the moment. So on your scrap paper, you guys, let's do número 1. Let's do número 6 and 8. Okay, so 1, 6, and 8, like on your scrap paper. And I will give you, it is, my clock says it's 28 after. I don't know, I'll give you about 3 or 4 minutes, right? A minute for each one, if you even need that. When you think you have them, just go ahead and pop them in the chat so I can see what you have. Now, if you want, in the resource library, there is a star chart. I mean, you can use that as a resource to make sure your form of a star is correct. Yeah, I need the whole thing, Joe Mary. I need to know that you have the correct form of a star as well, right? Those are correct. What you have is correct, but we need the right form of estar. So remember, we said the estar is an example of an auxiliary verb, right? So we need to make sure we include that. Okay, muy bien, Arshad. Yay, Jojo. Okay, don't forget 6 and 8. Joe, which one is that? That's 6, a we. We is nosotros, right? Plural. Yay, Arshad. That's what I love, scrap paper and like scrap chat boxes. Okay, the scrap chat. Okay, Brooke, how are you doing? Okay, one more minute, you guys. Just because class is going to end. Arshad, let's see. Arshad, can you check the chat? Okay. So, yeah. Arshad, one more time, check the chat, please. Okay, so let's see what our answers are, you guys. I am talking, so yo estoy, and then hablar is a regular AR verb, right? And so we get rid of the AR and it becomes hablando. Is that right? Is that what you have? Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay. Arshad, did you see my last chat there? Okay, we are dancing, right? Is nosotros. And then we have estamos. And then because bailar is a regular AR verb, it becomes bailando. Thank you, Arshad. And then escribir is an IR verb. And so we want to say ellos, they. Están, with the accent. And so escribir, we get rid of the IR and it becomes IENDO. Ellos están escribiendo. Ellos están escribiendo. So how many of you got one of those right, two of those right, or all three of them right? Just pop in the chat how many you got correct. Yay, Joe Marion. How many, Brooke? How many, Arshad? How many did you get? Correct. Oh, okay. All right, muy bien, muy bien. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna stop sharing. And we have a little practice in Canvas. We have about 5 minutes on it. Took a longer than I expected. But if you can, meet me over in Canvas real quick before our time is up today. You guys, am in Spanish 1. How about them apples? How wrong am I? Okay, I just didn't click out of that. Okay. Okay. In modules, right? Module 6.3, and we're almost done with module 6, you guys. That's a wonderful thing. That should be the very last thing in there. Right? So if you can see my screen in chat real quick, notice you guys, I put in how to form this and when to use it. I also put in a slide with the irregular ones. Okay, so you have what you need here. I've also put in here what your textbook has, right? An image for your textbook that's in there. So your practice is here. Present continuo or present progressive tells what someone is doing now. To form the present, use the following formula: estar plus your gerund or participle. Accents here are required. So notice, you guys, I've given you the chart with the forms of estar. I've also included your endings and some irregular ones. Okay, so you can just kind of scroll up and down, click on annotate. Are you with me, Jojo? Yeah. And you're going to have to use your text box, right? You guys, I would open up the text tool in Canvas, and then you can just type them in each one. Okay. So fill out the correct form of the star in the first blank and the correct form of the verb, gerund, present participle in the second one. And you don't even need to know what the word means. You just need to know if it's an AR verb or an ER verb or an IR verb. And you can check out what you need right here by just scrolling up. Okay. All right. Preguntas, questions. Okay. Not difficult, right? You guys just practice. Take your time with it. Notice the due date on this thing is not until like the 20th or something, right? So take your time. Okay. I'd rather you think through it than rush through it. Okay. All right. So we have a couple minutes if you wanted to go ahead and start on that. That's kind of up to you. I enjoyed reading your stories, you guys. They were fun to read. I liked that. Muy bien. So I did grade them. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to check those comments or whatever that I may have left. And you know what, Brooke? I'm going to go in and make sure that you guys aren't already given a 0 on your stuff here, which you are. All right, Brooke, if you get a minute, check grades and make sure, well, refresh it and make sure it's correct. Okay. Make sure it's not already giving you a 0. Is it good? Good. Okay. All right, you guys, that's our time for today. Arshad, nos vemos mañana. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy. Okay. Adios. Great job today. Muy bien. Adios.